Okay, so what I did is I got out that shear stabilizer and I just cut myself some strips, and I got my iron out and I just ironed them exactly where they would be on the front of the front edge of the bodice part here. That's where your eyelets are going to be. Okay, so everything's ready to go. We're going to turn our piece inside out now. So we're going to take a pin and you're going to pin it right where that front edge is, and we're just going to turn this and put it all the way through the top of the armhole. Okay, this is the easiest way to do it. Let me get some of these threads out of the way. Just feed it right through. Okay, it also helps if you turn your fabric towards that direction too, so they don't get all jammed up. And then you just grab the pin through here on the other side as it comes through. Okay, and then you just pull your fabric. Okay, and that will bring everything to the front. You can use your turner now if you want to get everything nice and smoothed out. But we're going to top stitch everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you do that or not. Okay, so let's do the other side. So let's find the same thing. Open this up, turn it, catch it here with our safety pin, push it through the armhole. So it comes out the other side. Fold your fabrics down so they're all hidden in the right direction. You don't have to, but it helps. And then just pull it through. And hopefully you won't have too much trouble. Okay, so that takes care of that. So now you can take your knitting needle or whatever you use to get everything to the front. We're going to, I'll use my, what am I going to use? Oh, here it is. I'll use my quill. And we're just going to push all these things through. Okay, so we can get nice sharp edges. Okay, so this is going to be we're going to fix all the rest of this too. We're going to pull all these up so they're nice and sharp, but we can do that after we get the side seams in. Okay, so our next step is going to be to open this up, and we're going to sew our side seams. So that's why we kept that extra 1/4 inch, because we're going to open this up and we're going to line that up with the other side, and we're going to sew up our side seams. So let's add those together. See that? And we're going to make sure those match. 1/4 inch in, you want everything to match perfectly. Okay. If it's off a little bit, it's not going to hurt, but try to get it as close as you can, because you'll get a nicer, the closer your seams match, the nicer finish you'll get. Okay. This is a little awkward, but you can do it, no problem. If these two don't match, it's probably because you didn't do exactly 1/4 inch right there. But it should match. They should match up just exactly even. Okay. So now we're going to do another 1/4 inch seam right here. Make sure you stay on that 1/4 inch all the way through to the other side. You have a tendency to sort of want to get off a little bit because you are right in the middle of that arm. But if you have to sew it twice because you didn't get it right the first time, that's fine too. But you want to make sure you get that 1/4 inch all the way through. Make sure we are a 1/4 inch. It's easier to see on the pink side. So we've got that 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Okay, looks good. Okay, so now we can see that that's going to be our inside. If you want to thin these out too, you can. You can cut one of these down to get rid of some of this bulk, just like we did on the neckline, and that will really help for it to lay really nice and smooth. Just cut one side down, just a little bit. You don't have to do anything else, just cut one side down so you can get rid of that bulk. Because then when you turn it inside out and we do our top stitching, you're going to get a nice smooth edge there. See how much smoother you would get? We don't have that big old lump that would be there. The sewing machine top stitching will help smooth that down, but just cutting that little snip off that one side will give you a much nicer fit there too. Okay, so there's that one. So we're almost there. So now we're going to do the side 2. Okay, so same thing. Open this up. Open that 1/4 inch, little over a 1/4 inch that we left open. And we're going to pin it down. And the other side. We're going to match that seam up. Sure we're even here. Hope I'm in camera. Okay, let's match those two seams right up there, right next to each other. Okay, put a pin in it. Okay, bring this one down. This one doesn't want to cooperate as easy as the last one did. Hear the wind out there? Oh my goodness, is it strong? Okay. Now if you're not sure if you're in the right, if you're not, one way to check to see if you're even go in a 1/4 inch with a pin, and check the other side and make sure you're exactly in the middle of that back seam. That's one way to check to make sure you're right on the mark too. Put a pin here. So go in a 1/4 inch, check the other side, and you should be right in the middle of that seam, and you should be, and I am. Okay, so those are matching. Doesn't seem to want to lay flat. You can serge these seams if you want to, but there's really no reason to because nobody's going to see them anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a seam in that one. So same thing here. We're going to cut that little piece off of that one side. So let's go to one side of this and let's trim off a little bit of that. Let's just trim off a little chunk of it. Okay, so this is where we're at. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to pull my seams out from this angle just like this, and I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to do a top stitch all the way around the armholes. I'm not going to, this is the tedious work, okay? So we're just going to do the armholes, don't do anything else, okay? Don't do any more top stitching anywhere else, because we're going to sew, we're going to have to be able to get in there and sew the most of the bottom together, okay? So we don't want to make it hard on ourselves, so you don't want to do that. My husband's peeking in at me. What the heck are you doing? Okay, so I'm going to do one armhole and then the other armhole, and it's going to look just like this, top stitching right around here. And the reason you want that top stitching is because this is the difference. You can either have this pretty finish or you can have this puffiness, and you don't want this. You want a nice even stitch around the armhole so it looks nice and finished. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these armholes, and then when I come back we'll do the bottom stitching. Okay, I'll be back.